Hello and welcome to Jim's Tabletop Wargaming. Today we are jumping on the trend of Slapchop, a supposed miracle painting technique to save time and effort. I will be putting it to the test versus my regular painting technique by painting these two Grey Knight models to as high a standard as I possibly can. I'm not all that familiar with this Slapchop thing, but I do remember a video a few years back which I think this originated from. I've never tried it myself, but it seemed simple enough to replicate, and I'm excited to see how it turns out. As you can tell, these models have been sat dormant for a while, so we need to go ahead and dust them off first. This is a perfect analogy for my channel at this point. While we are here, I'll just tidy up the mould lines and drill out the barrels for that added realism. With both models primed, I will quickly demonstrate my usual technique so we have a control for comparison. We will start with the silver base coat for the armour and the storm bolter, then add a little white to the eyes on the helmet. Now we add some dark red and gold details. Flesh out the purity seals and parchments with some pale beige colouring. Wash the eyes and silver details with blue shade coat. The gold and beige areas have been washed with a brown shade. Any red has been shaded with crimson wash, allowing to dry between each as to not spill over. Also added crimson wash to the ends of the parchments for that slightly blood-stained effect. This was done prior to the brown wash in order to dull it down. For the power weapon, I coated it with a dark blue, added some opposing areas of light blue, and created a line between both using a medium blue. This was then liberally washed with a blue shade to blend the colours slightly. Once completely dry, I applied a dry brush of white across the blade. The shaft was also washed with a blue shade just to give it a slight tint. One time consuming task is adding the edge highlights across the model and layering up the colour on those red panels. Black lines have been thinly added to the parchment in order to simulate writing. I based the model using a mixture of texture paint and two different types of sand. Once dry, I added more texture paint, left to dry, and coated on some thinned down PVA glue which I used to seal in basing materials. Now that this has been left to dry, I can go in with a dark brown base coat, highlighting with a lighter brown dry brush, and topping it off with a light dry brush of beige. Try and get a little on the feet of the model so it looks as though they have been kicking up dirt as they go. Next, to top off the base, we can add a little tuft of grass on with some of that PVA and give the base a nice black rim job. The look is now complete, and this did take me a few hours to do, mostly waiting for things like washes and textures to fully dry, but it's still a time-consuming process. The good thing with Slapchop is that I don't need nearly as many paints or tools for this, so I can clear the deck of all this clutter and we can get started. As you can see, this is practically all we need for this method, a bit of a relic from the past, but hopefully it's still up to the task. The model is placed inside and we'll give it a good slapping. And to finish it off, we will apply some texture paint and a small dash of ash flock. And there we are. The results speak for themselves. I certainly saved hours of my time by using the Slapchop method. Can you tell which of these models is which? What method do you prefer? Let me know in the comments below. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Please consider subscribing to the channel, and in the immortal words of Vince, you're going to love my nuts. Sayonara.